attacked. The only other time Article 5 has been enacted was on 9/11 to defend us.
Yeah,
And that's why the world is so especially upset about this, because they have always stood with us. And now we're turning against our most valuable, trusted allies that have set the world order for a generation.
I want to pick up on something the professor said, which was, I think America's going to find out that we had, in the post-war period, beautifully arranged the world to benefit ourselves. And probably,
okay, this is super important.
Yes, and probably in the history of civilization, come up with probably the most humane, and not only the most humane, but most efficient way of running our empire.
Yes.
We didn't have to station troops, and we didn't have to kill a whole lot of people. I mean, I don't mean to make this.
No, I hear you.
But compared to, say, the Romans that put legions in and people on crosses, we didn't necessarily have to do that per se. There's a very funny thing a very important thing that happened during the Great Financial Crisis and the pandemic. It's a thing called swap lines.
Oh, brother.
I try to get myself uninvited every time.
No. I'm gonna keep you on this.
When the world melted down, because the world is dollarized, our central bank went and provided dollars to the world. We put dollars on their account, they put euros on our account, and we did the same with Canadian dollars. Try to imagine the world now in a financial crisis, with a majority of Trump appointees on the Federal Reserve Board, while the president is trying to take over Greenland, where the president says, if you want a swap line, give me Greenland. And now make yourself Mark Carney, who, by the way, was the central banker for Canada and very successfully steered Canada and the Canadian banks through the Great Financial Crisis, saying, you know what, if I have a choice, I'm going to be less in the dollar. I'm going to be less, and I don't think they're running away because they can't, but in the choices that will be made at the margin, I believe, from this point, think of what the professor was saying, I think those choices will be less dollar, less U.S., maybe more China, maybe South America.
Do you think, when you just said it wasn't just Donald Trump this week, America elected him twice, right? And the average person, and I'm not saying the average person's a dope, but the average person isn't thinking about, or they're taking for granted that the dollar is the reserve currency. If it would not be, our whole lives would get a whole lot more expensive. Do you think people realize the extent of what they do?
No, they don't realize it. Just like farmers didn't realize it.
Yet they voted for him again.
Twice. And so what I think, what's so fascinating is that we've always known, at least some of us, that our hatreds would get the best of us at some point. That our greed would grab us by the throat at some point. The toxic brew of greed, selfishness, and hatred soured the belly of the country, eating a hole through its mining. And so we find ourselves right here. Carney was very clear, when global integration lends itself to the reality that big powers can use that integration to extort, to bully, in light of its own interest. When Stephen Miller, in that interview on that other network, said that all of this stuff in the post-World War era, all of this infrastructure, it was weak. And so they are actually appealing to 19th century imperialism, to the stuff, cosplaying Teddy Roosevelt, wanting to take over Guam, wanting to take over the Philippines, wanting to invade Haiti. That's the conception of power that animates these folk. And if Americans believe that the world is just going to stand by and let America run roughshod, oh my God, we're about to FO.
We're just going to leave it at that.
We had a deal, and that deal is gone now, right?